A private prison group challenges a new California law about to take effect. Why they say the law banning new contracts with for-profit prisons needs to be stopped.
Plus, how did you prepare for Y2K? 20 years later, we look at how San Diego got ready for something, anything to happen.
But first, today we're hearing from a woman who says she was inappropriately touched by a former sheriff's deputy. Richard Fisher was sentenced to 5 years in custody for sexual misconduct against 16 women.
Our 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala is joining us live from the downtown courthouse where a civil suit against Fisher will now move forward. And Mimi, this woman says she wants people to know her name.
Yeah, Steve, Kim, she shared her face and her name with us. She says all she wants is change so that nothing like this will ever happen again.
I'm just trying to move forward.
Shelley Howell wanted to reveal her identity so other women who have been through similar situations would gain the courage to share their stories.
Don't be fearful and don't hold back.
Howell says if the sheriff's department or county would have responded to a prior complaint about former Deputy Richard Fisher in 2016, a year later, she would have been safe.
That was the most frustrating part of it all, how it got swept under the rug and buried.
According to this civil complaint, Howell was touched inappropriately by Fisher during a traffic stop. She did have a meth pipe in her pocket. He didn't cite her for it, but instead, she says he told her to get rid of it, then asked her if she wanted to kiss him before he abruptly left.
It was difficult. It's been difficult throughout this whole period.
Earlier this month, Fisher was sentenced to 3 years and 8 months in jail, plus 16 months of mandatory supervision once he's released, all tied to the misconduct and assaults of 16 women. They say he groped, hugged, or tried to kiss them.
I have no life. For 2 years, I've lived in fear and constant stress.
Howell was there for the sentencing and spoke up in court. Now that the criminal case is over and Fisher is doing his time, Howell's civil suit, as well as other victims, will get started.
And there are many, many questions that we have in regards to how did this happen to Shelley?
Many of the women, including Howell, are suing the former deputy in the county for failing to protect them.
Hopefully, I'll be able to move on with my life.
And the county has already settled several other civil complaints totaling out to nearly $1 million. Reporting live downtown, Mimi Alcala, 10 News.
Mimi, thank you. A San Diego man's dramatic pleas for help were captured on a doorbell camera in Phoenix after he was carjacked, kidnapped, and shot.
Just call 911. I've been shot, swear to God.
His name is Anthony, and he was in Phoenix this weekend for the Fiesta Bowl. He says that he was sleeping in his car when 3 teenagers held him at gunpoint, pushed him into the back seat, and then drove him around town for more than an hour. They made withdrawals at different ATMs before dropping him off at an empty lot and shooting him several times. He ran off and desperately rang doorbells for help. One of the suspects has already confessed to the crime. Physically, Anthony is going to be fine, but his family and his friends tell us he is traumatized by what happened. He's in a Phoenix hotel right now until he's well enough to make the trip back home to San Diego.
Well, whoever drove into a beloved North County restaurant owner and then ran off did not own the car used in the hit and run. Investigators say the owner of Rosie's Cafe in Escondido was riding her motorcycle on Melrose Drive in Vista 10 days ago when someone in a white SUV turned in front of her. The SUV hit Caitlin Rosie Pillsbury, and then the driver got out and ran away. She's still in the hospital with serious injuries. Deputies got a hold of the SUV's owner, but they do not believe that that person was the driver. Anyone with information on the hit and run should call the sheriff's department.
Tonight, a private prison group is challenging a law which goes into effect tomorrow. The GEO Group, which has a facility here in San Diego, is suing the governor and the attorney general. As our Team 10 investigator Adam Recruzen explains, the group says a law banning new contracts with for-profit prisons should be stopped.
The building has no markings and very few doors. It sits right in the heart of downtown San Diego, but blends in as just another building straddling the county courthouse and county jail. If you weren't paying attention, you'd probably miss the fact that it's actually a detention center, housing nearly 700 people. The group that runs the facility is called the GEO Group, a private prison and corrections company. On Monday, that group filed this lawsuit against California's top leaders, arguing a new state law is unconstitutional. In October, Governor Gavin Newsom signed AB 32 into law. It prevents new contracts for privately owned detention facilities and would phase out those private prisons and detention centers by 2028. According to the lawsuit, the new law will impact at least 10 of the privately managed facilities in California, totaling nearly 11,000 beds, which represents the majority of detention capacity held by the federal government in the state of California. 7 of those facilities are managed by the GEO Group. A spokesperson for the GEO Group says it's unconstitutional for a state law to prohibit the lawful operations of the federal government or its contractors.
They argue without the court stepping in, they'd be forced to close this facility once its contract with the Marshal Service expires.
But closing is exactly what some want. Private prison and immigration detention facilities have come under fire this year with protests outside of several. In a statement to Team 10, a spokesperson for Governor Newsom wrote in part, as our office has previously stated, for-profit prisons, including ICE-contracted facilities, run contrary to our values and have no place in California. Adam Rakusin, 10 News.
Has also reached out to the Attorney General's office for comment. A spokesperson says they have not been served.
The family of an 88-year-old resident at a Hillcrest nursing home is now suing the facility for negligence. Police say a homeless man broke into the Balboa Nursing and Rehabilitation Center in October and sexually assaulted the elderly woman. The lawsuit states he got inside through an unlocked door. Police arrested the man last month. He's charged with rape, elder abuse, and other felonies.
The final day of the decade turned out to be a frightening one for a family in Lemon Grove. They woke up to sheriff's deputies armed and surrounding their duplex. Investigators say that a man broke into the empty unit next door, then refused to come out. So deputies sent in their canine after about an hour. It bit the man on the ankle and he surrendered quickly. Deputies say the intruder lit the stove and was eating cake inside the home. The family says he's lived across the street from them for nearly 20 years.
I was so scared because, you know, in these times, everything, all the things happens right now, like a shooting and this and that. So I was saying, oh my God, they happen now in my house.
The man is now facing charges of burglary and vandalism. Well, it was a windy day for parts of the county, and it should be a chilly night to take in the new year as well.
Meteorologist Angelica Campos tracking our temperatures tonight.
Oh, it's going to be chilly out there, but still beautiful. We get to see a lot of sunshine today. The winds no longer a problem. They are dying down, and it will be less windy as we go into tonight. Already some spots not even reporting any wind, like Palmer Mountain, where the winds reach 68 miles per hour earlier today. It's 24 now in Alpine. Yesterday was over 50, so clearly we're doing better. Clear skies will continue into tonight. That will help temperatures topple into the 40s very quickly. At the coast by midnight, 49, 47 inland, 30s in the mountains, and also in the upper 40s for the deserts. But even though it gets chilly at night, temperatures recover, and we'll see a warm-up. I'll pinpoint when that will take place in our 7-day forecast.
We'll see you in a minute. Thanks, Angelica. About 100 Marines stationed in Kuwait are reinforcing security at the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. The move comes after hundreds of protesters attempted to storm the embassy. The hostile crowd is angry after weekend airstrikes by the U.S. that reportedly killed 25 militia members. That was in response to an Iran-backed rocket attack in northern Iraq, which killed a U.S. civilian contractor last week.
Threats to the oil facilities in Saudi Arabia, and there were threats to our facilities in Iraq. We've seen them all play out. And the last one, unfortunately, resulted in the death of an American.
Iraqi security forces eventually pushed protesters back. The State Department says there are currently no plans to evacuate the embassy.
The convention center is filled with exotic cars just hours away from the International Auto Show. Those cars were moved in today. Crews also practiced their precision driving to make sure each car was positioned perfectly for the best viewing opportunities.
This is like going to spring training for baseball, but getting there before the teams get there, right? So you know that these guys are going to be here and these guys are going to be there, but all the players aren't here yet. So that's what we're working on today, is get all the players in the right places so that the cars can be the stars come tomorrow morning.
That they will be. The show will feature the finest driving machines in the world, along with the blast from the past. The International Auto Show starts tomorrow and runs through Sunday. Tickets are $15 for anyone over 13.